Morning, Joe. Morning, Jamie. How you guys doing?
Morning, Ben. Good. How are you?
Doing well. Joe, welcome back. Jamie, welcome to the new podcast studio. Not a bad setup, huh?
It looks good.
I feel very nice. Far. Not having someone sit over there, you feel very far away. I don't know if this table's wider or what it is, but it's a fun angle from over here. How's everything going? How you guys doing? Well, Happy New Year. I think it's still somewhat allowed to say that, right?
Yeah.
Are we past the window?
I think we got another week. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Thank you. How you guys doing?
Good. Yeah. Q1 is here. We're ready.
Good. That's what we like to hear. What's going on in the world of freight and logistics to kick off the new year? I know things can't just be smooth and easy and status quo. You know, there's always something. So, what are the things keeping you up at night these days in the world of logistics?
There's always fires to be put out in the world of logistics, but
hopefully figurative fires.
Sometimes
real ones.
Yeah. Figurative for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from our perspective, I think ocean freight right now is kind of front of mind. A lot of people are really concerned with how they're going to be able to get their containers, their products in from the different ports. Yeah. Kind of staying ahead of that and trying to provide as many different solutions as possible, while also, keeping pricing front of mind, I think is the big concern here. But I think that's the major one right now. I know Jamie's got some rail stuff he can go over. Yeah.
The ocean freight thing is interesting. Like, you think about like all this stuff happening in the Red Sea, for example. It's like, oh, it's so far away. Like, what does it matter? And you look at like the routes that 80% of ocean container ships take, and it goes right through there, no matter where you're going, to pick up other stuff and then come back over, towards the States. Like, it's when you look at those maps, it's scary how important some of these areas are.
It's the shortcut through that is the big thing. And then now it's happening at the same time as, there have been restrictions on the Panama Canal. So it's kind of all conflating at the same time, and just not great.
I think there's a reason they're being targeted, right? I mean,
they're not.
When there's an opportunity,
they're no dummies. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately,
yeah, I know. It's one of those things. I mean, we dealt with the pent up issues with the rail infrastructure. What, a year and a half ago?
Still are
for sure. But now it's just another layer to it that unfortunately internationally we're starting to feel.
Well, we had some interesting perspectives from some customers in the States over the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of other regions globally that you can produce things cheaper than you can in the U.S. for a variety of reasons these days. So people are taking advantage of that, bringing in finished goods into the U.S. But when stuff like that happens, all of a sudden people can't get these cheaper finished goods because the ocean freight's either more expensive, or they just can't get the vessels here because there's less of them. That all of a sudden means that the U.S. plants need to start producing stuff because they need stuff on an emergency basis, which then obviously impacts, hey, I need a truck tomorrow because I thought I had stuff, coming in the vessel, and the vessel's going to take 2 weeks. So it's this trickle-down effect of impacting, product supply here, impacting, hey, I need a truck tomorrow type stuff.
Yep.
So it is amazing how far all that trickles.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's what type of relationships do you have with Latin American producers, South American producers? I think that you'll see in the next year or so really kind of come to the forefront. Anybody who has that will be that much more advantageous in their offering. So it should be interesting.
Definitely.
Even if you don't import anything yourselves, it doesn't affect me. I don't import stuff. It does, because like I said, if you're competing with people that are making stuff in the States strictly, you're competing with that production, you're competing with the truck freight, on emergency loads, that's just like you are your planned regular business.
Mm-hmm.
So
even if you're not importing anything, the odds that your supplier, if you have a domestic supplier, the odds that they're not, and just no one in your supply chain is, that's pretty low, right? Yeah. So
there's only so many raw goods, right?
Yeah. Do you really know your supply chain well enough, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps above just what you guys are buying?
Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting. We talked a little bit before you guys came on the rail side of things as well. Always a variety of factors, both sometimes good. Obviously sometimes rail can be a very beneficial and cost-effective supply chain. Other times there's some headaches that I'm sure keep Jamie awake at night sometimes as the in-house rail expert.
From time to time.
From time to time. What's happening on the rail side these days?
So right now, I mean, we're still kind of dealing with the same infrastructure issues we have been. I mean, obviously everyone's working slowly to try and get that back up to where it should be. But, with highways, as we all see on a regular basis, just in our own personal lives and bridges and all sorts of things like that, it's just a work in progress. I think a lot of things, at least in the U.S. right now, especially being from Rhode Island, a lot of things are not really where they should be. So I know that's something a lot of people are kind of unanimously working on. But from the rail side, beyond the infrastructure. I mean, right now we're seeing a lot of issues at the Mexican border, for instance. In like the El Paso area, we're seeing a lot of, issues with migrant concerns and having to close the border down for freight going to and from Mexico because you have waves of migrants trying to make it across that border while basically they have a big gate that opens up, the train goes through. And as of right now, people are trying to flood through with the train. Yeah. So that's definitely a concern and has basically led to that closure there. Sure. So on an off and on basis.
Yeah, obviously I think our number one trade partner, I think it's Mexico, not Canada, but I mean it's a big deal.
Billions of dollars.
They're up there. Yep.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, something obviously we talk more about, I think, the migrant side and the crisis on the border and all that good stuff, but if you think about it from the business side and the economy side, it plays a massive role.
Absolutely. Yeah, that can't be understated enough.
And so what are you guys doing? Just assuming it's going to take a couple extra days, a week to get through? I mean, is that all you really can do? What's the fix?
So as of right now, I mean, with rail, we always assume a few extra days in most cases,
sure,
right? So, sure. I mean, in this case, basically what is having to happen, at least as of now, is you're having to apply for special permits to go through. So if you have freight that needs to go through, you basically a week beforehand need to get approval from Border Patrol, Homeland Security, and the rail line to go through. Whether or not you get that, it's not guaranteed. Right. So you just kind of have to keep applying until you get it. And, each shipment needs it. So
based on how many trains they want to allow through or whatever.
Right, because they're just trying to control that number so they can predict on a weekly basis, okay, we need to make sure these 10 trains are protected for Wednesday.
We have heard that, once you do get the permit, that kind of, streamlines it a little bit, but it's not guaranteed every time. It just kind of means, hey, we've done this before,
And it has to be done, as I said, for each shipment. So if that's a 1-car shipment, if it's 10, even if it recurs every week, you need to refile every week.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Just another step.
Just making your life as easy as possible, right?
Yeah.
So keep a close eye on, your supply chains, up and down the supply chain, understand how some of these imports may affect you, how the vessels and ports may affect you. And then obviously if you do any business with Mexico, rail or not, it's a good time to keep in touch with your logistics folks and understand the implications of your supply chains, sounds like these days.
Yeah. And, by the way, winter's here. So weather piling on top of it makes for fun times.
Usually like a very high level, one of the first things we talk about is storms and things like that. Now when that falls to like number 4 on the list, you're like, wow.
Yeah, it's
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's luckily or unluckily, if you're a ski mountain, unluckily, but luckily it's been a relatively mild winter so far at least.
Sure.
So we'll see if that continues. But hopefully it hasn't been too big of an impact, at least these days.
No, I feel like we're just kind of on the precipice of it, though. And, hopefully if we're still saying this another month, then that's good news. Sure. But I feel like this is kind of the kickoff to winter weather time. So
for sure.
I'm ready for it. If it's going to be cold, it might as well snow, I think.
Yeah. Get it out of your system.
While it's cold and snowing, it's also football playoff season.
Let's go.
So a lot of Bills news today, right? I mean, the Buffalo Bills coming up this week. Bill Belichick potentially out in New England.
Out.
Big day for Bill.
Reportedly.
It's good. The press conference at noon, I think, right?
Yeah. Good day to be a Bills fan.
Maybe.
Sorry, guys.
We'll see if you're still saying that this time next month.
We'll see. We'll see.
The next episode. When's the Super Bowl? February 10th, 11th, something like that.
Yeah.
So the next episode may be post Super Bowl. So it's gonna be a big month here.
We can plan accordingly.
We'll plan accordingly. Special edition.
We'll see.
Well, Joe, Jamie, appreciate having you guys on as always. Thanks for the logistics update. We will see where things are at, both in the world of logistics and the world of football in about another month. But we'll talk soon.
Thanks again, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.